chemistry. So if you guys are good to go, we'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you so very much. The title of our presentation is Improving the Achievement and Problem-Solving Skills of Students. How effective is CTCA in nuclear chemistry? By the way, CTCA means Cultural Techno-Contextual Approach. My name is Ibukunolu Ademola, and I'm the lead presenter for our research group. Other members of the research group are Peter Okebuku, the rest of others that you can see on the screen. We have from African Center of Excellence for Innovative and Transformative STEM Education, Lagos State University, Nigeria. Our study is based on the following problems. One, unimpressive performance of students in chemistry in public examinations and in school exam in many African countries, and also the lack of problem-solving skills of many students in chemistry. This problem led us to the following research questions. First, will there be a statistically significant difference in academic achievements and problem-solving skills of chemistry students taught nuclear chemistry using CTCA and lecture method? And second is there any statistically significant main effects and interaction effect of method of teaching and sets on achievement and problem-solving skills of students taught nuclear chemistry using CTCA and lecture method? This study was built on the Lev-Vygotsky constructivism theory and Oswald theory of meaningful learning, and also on Kwame Nkrumah ethnophilosophy, Martin Heidegger ethnophilosophy, and Michael Williams contextualism. The study was conducted in two phases. The first phase was survey of difficult concepts in chemistry, while the second was a quasi-experimental, where we examine if CTCA can improve the achievements of students in one of the topics. 1,292 students were involved in the first phase of this study, and these students are from Ghana and Nigeria. These students are all from private schools in these two countries, and both in rural and urban locations. 51% of these students were female. And at this stage, difficult concept chemistry questionnaire was administered, and the data collected was used to analyze the chemistry concepts in order of difficulty. So we found that organic chemistry was the most difficult concept based on the data that we gathered. And nuclear chemistry and SWOT analysis happened to be the second most difficult concept simultaneously. And because other members of the group have already worked on organic chemistry, so we move on to nuclear chemistry, which is the second on the rank. At the quasi-experimental phase, there were 102 senior secondary school students, which is equivalent of 11th grade in the United States. And these students are from two different schools. The experimental group had 53 subjects, and they were taught using CTCA method, while the control group had 49 subjects, where they were taught nuclear chemistry using lecture method. This treatment lasts for 4 weeks. So at the right-hand side, you see the annotation. The two groups enjoyed the same pre-test and the same post-test, but the experimental group were given the treatment, which is CTCA. The control group do not have access to a treatment. At the quasi-experimental stage, two instruments were used. The chemistry achievement test. This instrument was subject to reliability, and we found that the instrument is 80% reliable. Also, the second instrument is nuclear chemistry problem-solving skill tests, and it was also subjected to reliability tests, and we found that it is 76% reliable. So, cultural techno-contextual approach was used to teach the experimental group, and this particular approach has been designed to break down many traditional barriers to meaningful learning of science, such as the deficit of facility for teaching and learning, perception that science for the gifted. All these barriers are melted and broken down by CTCA. And this is one of the reasons why we want to test if this particular approach can improve the achievement and problem-solving skills of the students. How does CTCA work? The CTCA involved 5-step process. And the first thing we did was to inform students ahead of the lesson. We told the students the topic that they'll be taught ahead of the lesson, and they were also instructed to ask an elderly person around them. It could be their uncle, their elder brother, also their parents, about cultural practices that are related to nuclear chemistry. The students were also instructed to surf through the internet and other web resources to work on things that are related to nuclear chemistry. So the second step is, at the beginning of the lesson, the students were grouped into mixed sex and ability. And at this point, they have the opportunity to rub minds together, to also share their experiences and to relate with each other, and then also rub minds together on the cultural practices that they have gathered from various homes. The third step is the lesson progresses with sprinkle of humor, and the examples were drawn from the school surroundings. And step is at the stage where the teacher comes in and also give his own incident about the cultural practices that he is able to lay his hand on, and what was through the web resources. And if there's any misconception from what the student had at this point, the teacher can then clear such misconception. And the last step, step number 5, is that at the end of the lesson, the teacher summarizes the content of the lesson taught and sent it via SMS or WhatsApp. In order to answer the first research question, one-way Mark-over analysis was run, and the results showed that a statistically significant difference in method of teaching was showed that there is a statistically significant difference in the method, and the univariate Mark-over on problem-solving skills failed to attain statistically significant difference. However, statistical significant difference was found for achievements. And we also found that this significant difference was in favor of the experimental group, that is the CTCA group. And in order to answer the second research question, two-way Mark-over analysis was run, and we also found that the main effect due to sex was not significant. However, main effect due to method was significant. Also show that the interaction effect of method and sex was not significant. Which is the experimental group, outperformed the control group. The reason is not far-fetched. One of the reasons is that the experimental group uses CCA, and because of the richness of this method, they outperform the control group. And also, CTCA allow the use of scaffold, which is in line with Lev-Vygotsky theory, with what Lev-Vygotsky also did in his study. And the students were given the opportunity to perform a task with the assistance of an elderly person and even their mates. You recall that at the second stage of implementing CTCA, the students have the opportunity to interact with each other and to rub mind and to share their cultural practices. And so along the line, they got to know more than what they already had from home, and they rub mind with each other. And The CTCA group also outperformed the control group because the students were mixed together, both not minding whatever their sex is and their ability. CTCA group also outperformed the control group because in this particular method, the teacher served as a facilitator, whereas at the control group, the teacher was an instructor. So for the CTCA group, the teacher facilitated the lesson, but the control group, the teacher was an instructor. It was the teacher that told the student what to do. The CTCA group, the teacher only facilitates the lesson. The student were the one that taught each other based on the experience they had during group speech. Now, the following are some of the cultural knowledge that was used to teach the CTCA group. In Africa, drums were made from the skin of animal. And before this skin are used to make any drum, they are first of all exposed to sunlight for some days, and after which they can now be used to make any drum of any kind. In Yoruba land, where I came from, this skin can be used to make drums like gogon, bembe, akusin, shakara, and bata, and so on. And so we can link this concept to radioactivity, which is one of the subtopics under nuclear chemistry, because the skin of this animal is exposed to sunlight in order for it to emit any form of fat and absorb large quantity of energy before it can then be used for any purpose. So this was used to explain radioactivity to the CTCA group. Also, we also use Ayolokmo, which is known as Intellectual African Board Game. This was used to explain half-life to the students. Ayolokmo has 12 holes, and each of them will contain 4 IO seeds. That means it must contain 48 IO seeds. And this game can only be played by 2 people. So where there are more than 2 contestants, what happens is 2 people play, and the winner will play with another member of the group that is waiting. And when these 2 people are playing, the other member can only give support to those that are playing. They don't have access to touch the game. So, and along the line, the eligibility of these people reduces, because when one loses, another person come and play with the winner. This concept was used to explain the concept of half-life to the CTCA group. Within the limitation of this thing, we recommend that CTCA should be adopted as a method of teaching globally. So we also recommend that further studies should be conducted on the use of CTCA, and we also recommend that training should be organized for teachers on the use of CTCA. The NARST can consult us on how teachers can be trained on the use of CTCA. The following are my references, and for more information, you can visit contact me with this email address. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
My question is, at the very end of the 5-step process, it's about sending messages via WhatsApp or text messages. You sure have to do that by, like, you talk about how the abilities mix. Does it have to make individual text for each one? Or does the max text like cater to the lowest, maybe not lowest performing, but like the weakest understanding? I'm just thinking about the work of the teacher right now.
Can you say that again?
I'm gonna come up. So I guess my concern is that I'm interested in the work of the teacher that's involved in this. And at the end of your 5-step process, you described that one of the tasks was they had to communicate a summary of the lesson.
at the very end, they had to communicate a summary of the lesson via text or WhatsApp. Did the teacher write individual summaries for each level of achievement, or did they send out one summary? And how much work was that?
Okay. Yeah, if I get you right, I think what you are saying is that does the teacher summarize the lesson at every stage? Is that what you are saying?
For each level of student. Because it seems like you only summarize at the end, right? The process is summarizing the information at the end. And it seemed like you had you had different genders, right? There were men and there were girls and there were boys, and you eventually mixed ability level too. Did the teacher send out one summary, or did they send out multiple summaries based on ability level?
Yeah, Ibuku, maybe I can help you there. The teacher sent out the summary based on the average that the average ability level student can comprehend. But you see, the teacher did not send messages or summaries out for every lesson. What the teacher did was just for the first one, and then he required that the group leads, because at the beginning of every lesson the students will come together in small groups. The group leads will have to summarize. The teacher doesn't have to summarize for them all the time. That's what he didn't tell you.
Oh no, that's very good.
Yeah. Thank you.
There are more people on that side.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none here and none online, I think we will go ahead and move on, and I am next.